Hello. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to be doing a quick look at Bitcoin current market conditions and a couple of alts, majors, things like that. Going to try and keep this video to under 15 minutes so you can get in, get the info, and get on with your day. All right. Now, if you're just joining the channel, please take a moment, hit that subscribe button. Helps out the channel a lot. We do have some reference links as well if you'd like to set up a new trading account, or if you just want to use one of the reference links and trade on it to help out the channel. I greatly appreciate that. It's a fantastic way to support the channel. I want to always keep the content free, of course, for everybody and make it worth my time too. So subscribe, share this on social media, and help get others in here. The more people we have, the better the discussion will get. And let's get started taking a look here. So I've got the Coinbase and the BitMEX chart pulled up. I'm going to get rid of the review there. We're going to go up to a higher time frame here just to take a look at some stuff. I'm going to bring both of these charts up to the 1 month time frame. All right, so we are starting to approach the end of the next month here. And I'm just going to mark the monthly levels so that when we go down to the low levels, we will see exactly where they are. All right, so that was the high, close, and open. And then our monthly low is just below where we are right now. Great. Same idea over here. I'm just going to leave that chart though without the marks for now because they're going to be roughly in the same spot anyway. Yeah, great. Okay, so let's move down to the weekly here and take a look at what's going on. You can see how a lot of the weekly price action has still been contained within those monthly levels. Now we still have, if we look here, we still have this divergence from peak to peak. If you look right here, from those 2 points, if you look across a lot of your indicators here, we've got a high here and a low here, with price at the same level or even slightly higher, and the same thing on the RSI. So you got 2 out of 3 of the indicators I have up there. OBV is going to be a little bit different in that respect. This one did show a divergence there, which played out obviously, but this is just a neutral signal. So 2 out of 3 of those though do show some bearish divergence, which looks like it is still continuing to play out. Although we do have potential for a pretty powerful signal to develop here on the weekly, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. We are just playing around with this fast EMA. This is a 13 EMA here on the weekly, and this is a 21, so nearly half the year there. And that is a level that is frequently tested during long-term bull runs, so I do look to that level for long-term buys. Now, same idea over here, got the same sort of signals. I'm going to mark the weekly levels though for us just so that we can see those as we go down. Now, I'm going to use the most recent there, change it to orange just so we can tell the difference. And this one here is our most recent low. So you can see how we are consolidating in a kind of triangle-like pattern, which is fairly common, of course, throughout markets. We're also consolidating, though, tighter and tighter on the actual candle bodies. So that range is continuing to contract without any strong movements out of it yet. And I would be looking to those levels, especially now that we've had this kind of midway point here. I would be looking at these levels for a weekly close outside of one of them for a good signal as to the next major movement in price. So we get a close down below here, then that's going to be our first new low on the weekly in a long time, because we had higher low here, higher low here, higher low here, and we are flirting with that same higher low now. So from a price action standpoint, we are still in a weekly bull trend. However, the strength of that has turned neutral just because we have been consolidating, as we haven't had any new highs in many weeks now. This was our last higher high, technically, you could say, like this level in general, which is why if you've watched some of the previous videos, I've been talking about those levels for a while. That 11.5 is very important. But now we have this new lower high to watch, which is nice. And that 11.4 level, you'll see it on the daily as well. We'll talk about it again in just a second here. But those are the levels from a price action standpoint to be watching, certainly. From trending standpoint, of course, the EMAs are great to watch, and like I said, I am watching that long-term 21 EMA on the weekly. Just to give you an idea, of course, always use the previous candle as the actual level, so that 8.921 level that we just had for the previous weekly close here, that's the level that I would be watching. Do still expect it to come down and hit this point, as we were talking about last time, because that's a really major level there. So we'll see it wick down past the EMA, I believe. Now, one thing though I want to talk about, if you look at candle trading, Japanese candle patterns, the pattern that we're playing with here has the potential to be a 3-line strike pattern. So essentially what that would look like, we have this candle here, we have 3 falling candles inside a bullish candle. So the following weekly candle then would shoot up and close above this 10.4 level. With Bitcoin, because it is so volatile, I don't expect it to be a slight close. If we do end up getting that pattern, I believe it would be a strong candle that would come back up and close at least at or above that monthly level there at 10.764. Keep in mind, though, that this weekly candle has just started. It is Monday. It is the open. We have the backed open as well, which was completely uneventful so far, honestly, which is what it should be. So that's kind of great. I'm happy about that. I did not want to see a ton of volatility for that event. And, you know, it's big players. It's people who were buying OTC, and now they have a place where they can unload their Bitcoin longer term. Pardon me. All right. So be watching for that. That is something I'll be watching for, but that has another 2 weeks before it would potentially develop. And this candle can do a lot. It can bounce up inside this range. It can push down. It could even push down and hit these lower levels and then come back up. You know, that wick would be pretty impressive, though, if that happened. But that's the main thing, is it needs to close above this higher low at about 9.779 area. But yeah, 9.77 essentially. As long as we see price action close above that at the end of this week, this bullish trend is still technically intact. I don't expect it to necessarily, but I would not be disappointed if it did by any means, because I do believe that this week we will have a chance to buy down here at these lower prices at some point. All right. That's everything on the weekly that I wanted to cover. Just from a volume and momentum standpoint, we've got same sort of thing, some consolidation, but we are seeing not a lot of strength from the bulls right now on the OBV on the weekly. We are seeing a push down, and it does look like there is some bearish control. However, we had our strongest volume, sell volume, of course, back here, and volume has been kind of tapering off throughout this consolidation. Now, the next major candle that we see here that has some significant volume that comes up to the volume MA here or closes above it, I think that will be a pretty good signal as to where we are headed. Looking at the MACD here, we still have continuing strengthening bearish momentum and volume here. So not really expecting much from the bulls yet. I will be looking for the MACD to flip over to a neutral candle here, reversal, potential reversal, but neutral candle like that. Once we get a weekly close, definitely have more faith in the bulls at that point. But at the moment, we have a pretty steep MACD EMA midpoint movement here. All right. Same thing I was talking about with the RSI. This does not show any bullish strength at the moment, and does look like we are pushing down to a new low on the RSI still. So looking for that pattern to break at some point, but right now it is severely divergent there from those highs that we were talking about. All right, let's move down to the daily here. Not going to worry about the 3-day right now. Okay, now this is where I really pay a lot of attention to the EMAs here on the daily. And I've been talking about this for a while. We had this bearish cross back here. I did get tricked at this point and bought in and then had to stop out down here. But that was fine. That was within my risk. And ever since, we have not had a lot of convincing price action or trending action other than in a consolidation slash mildly bearish manner. The major thing, though, is because the EMAs have remained bearish ever since then, so I've been looking mostly for sells throughout that period, especially on a longer-term basis. And I am almost entirely in cash at the moment, from a little higher than we are right now. Now, what I want to do, let's just pull this up so we can see it a little bit better. Let's talk about this that I was talking about before. So we have this point here, which was a bull trap, a very successful one, I think, for many people, almost at 11. So we're going to draw a couple more lines here, but I'm going to try and keep them to a minimum, or at least remove the ones that are not important, just so you get the idea. So on the daily, we had this new lower high, which we have essentially failed to break ever since. There was this point, of course, where people were feeling very bullish, possible breakout from this big triangle pattern, and of course it came down, invalidated that. We had this nice reversal here that came up, touched the weekly. That was a perfect selling opportunity because price just plummeted afterwards. And this area here would remain, I believe, a good selling opportunity if price came back to it. Very obvious, very obvious OB right there. Now, but that's not the thing that we need to worry about anytime soon, I don't think. It's these levels, it's these lower highs. So we went from this one at 10.9 down to a new one here, and you can see there's significant bullish strength trying to push price up each time that this happens. And you can see that too, of course, on the OBV. But you can see that each time the OBV is agreeing with the price action, and we are getting lower highs, lower highs, lower highs each time, and also some lower lows too. So that's not something that inspires any confidence towards a bullish movement long term for me yet. This is why I'm comfortable waiting for the bulls to truly step in and find a bottom on this consolidation, which of course I do think is lower. There is this OB right back here, but I do not believe that will hold price again, as we have already come down and tapped it several times. It has an opportunity to hold it maybe once more to see a bounce back to the monthly level afterwards, or the weekly, but then continue down towards that lower point where I think we'll have a better opportunity to buy. All right. Now, after this one, this 10.6 level that we saw, the next one is this same as the weekly level, and this is what I was talking about before. So we've had this consistent downward pressure on price ever since. And before that, we had, of course, a new low and then a higher low, but we have since come down and closed below that too. So this level, that 10.4, that's huge. If price can break that, if the bulls can push above that and close above that, that would be a very strong reversal signal, in my opinion. Now, we do have this nice little candle here. This was a crazy candle if you were watching when it happened. Just came down very quickly and then shot all the way back up. It did close up, which tricked a lot of bulls again. If you're not paying attention to things like the EMAs and stuff as well, and not paying attention to some of this downward pressure, that candle alone looks like a very bullish candle. Problem was, closed below the EMAs inside a value zone for bearish value on a sell for EMA trading. And then, of course, we came down and closed again below it. Now, I was looking at this candle yesterday. I was really wanting to see what this did. This felt like a very important candle to me here. And now we do have this level from that previous candle there that I was just talking about at about 10.275. That's your first signal. If price gets above that, now you're hoping that it gets above that 10.4. So above this point, I would buy, and then I would look for it to close above the 10.4. If it can't close above there, then maybe sell and wait for it to get above the 10.4 before rebuying. But we do have that level to watch now. But the 10.4 is the major level, coincides there weekly and daily. All right, but now what I want to talk about, the reason I was watching this candle yesterday is because now we have this low and this low, and price needed to come up and close above at least one of those levels. Closing below the lower one like this was a significantly bearish signal to me. If it had come up and closed below the secondary low here, that still would have been bearish, just not as strongly bearish. So this candle was a good bearish candle because it came up, tapped that daily level there, and came back down. Really not a good sign for the bulls, not something they want to see at all. Now, that is a level that I will continue to watch now, since it was an SR flip, essentially. So this was a potential support, came down, we tapped it, we went straight through it on that candle. That candle was just fucking crazy. And then we tapped it again, but then here we came down, closed below it. So this candle needed to come up and close above. It did not. It tapped it and came back down to close lower, and has since fallen today, as you can see. I will look at a lower time frame real quick just to give us an idea of some intraday action, but unless this candle can close back up here above that 9974 level, even short term, I don't see a lot of movement in the bull's direction. I continue to remain a bear on Bitcoin short term. Long term, of course, I am very much a bull on Bitcoin, but I am not afraid to go very bearish short term to make more Bitcoin and or more fiat as a result. Now, I'm going to put an alert there because that's the level that I'm going to start paying attention if it can come back up and close above that. Right now, this is a daily 3-candle pattern, which is a bearish continuation pattern there. So I'm expecting it to come down. My major area is still this 873 level that I'm looking at for some major buys, but I do want to see price stay there and not really push below it. So just going to be watching that level for now. We do still have this, 9.5 area that we have consistently found support at. To push below, though, before the bears can really become euphoric. But overall, still looks like a bearish trend on those higher time frames, so would not be at all excited to be buying at the current level if I was looking for long-term buys. Short-term buys, however, let's take a look and see what we have. So far we're still pushing into a new downward momentum trend here on the MACD, so I would be waiting until I see one of these neutral candles for a shift. All right, let's go down. Let's look at the 4-hour on these just to get a little intraday information here. Now, and this is the thing that really makes me, continue to be fairly bearish is that even on a short time frame, you can see that we have the EMAs showing a bearish trend that has been a very successful area to trade so far. Trap here, of course, pushed through and stopped out people who were trading those EMAs, but beautiful area right here, big profit potential there for people who are trading price action or EMAs on that. Now, we had, and this is the level that I had marked already on the daily, and the 4-hour agrees with it. So that's a great level to put an alert, in my opinion. Just going to add that in there. Actually, I'm going to do that later, but I will be adding an alert right at that level. Now, pulling out a little bit just here to see, we do have these volume areas. We came down and tapped this one. The monthly, of course, has a nice little volume area there, as do these lows that we have tested now. If we zoom out a little bit more to include some of the rest of it, you can see, though, that there is less and less volume interest actually at these lows on both sides, whereas there is a big gap and then huge volume interest area down here right at that same level that I was talking about, which is another reason that I feel we will definitely see price come down to here, possibly even down into this gap here. All right. Now, let's see if I can see anything else intraday. I mean, we have this, that price is moving below, which is not great. We have this bearish candle pattern right there. I mean, yeah, there's nothing that looks super good to me. Volume doesn't show any potential for reversal. There's not a lot of potential for reversal on the MACD. Maybe a little bit on the RSI. I mean, yeah, I guess this is technically divergent right now on the RSI, but it's a weak divergence inside, the standard range for the RSI. So it's not a very strong signal. It's not one I'm super interested in trading. Short term, I would just be looking for a better signal if I was going to attempt any longs. And I would be looking at lower time frames, because when I'm trading on margin generally, or trading on leverage with margin, I'm generally trading low time frames anyway. Yeah, nothing super impressive. Like I said, this level though, 10,026, basically 10,000 is what it is, the 10K range. That's what I would want to see. I'd want to see something that inspired me. This candle was interesting. It's just that it has kind of continued to sell off since, and I don't want to see that, especially after tapping even the EMA levels on that low time frame. I mean, that's just not an inspiring movement still, even though this candle, same sort of thing as that earlier candle that I was talking about on the daily time frame that looked like it was very bullish, but then there was sell-off afterwards. Now, I do think to some extent this is some, people taking advantage of the news, the backed launch, stuff like that. People were definitely buying throughout the past couple months, hoping for this launch to be a catalyst. It has not been. So, that's a lot of people who will potentially be dumping their Bitcoin as a result of that trade idea not panning out if they are trading on news and events. There's plenty of people in this market aware of that could just kind of help price out to encourage those people to sell for now. This 10,000 level, though, if we can get back above that and get a 4-hour candle above that, that would be my first warning sign that we might actually have a reversal in store for us. Other than that, I don't see anything even really intraday on these lower time frames that is inspiring. I would be staying out of the market at the very least, or shorting any upward movements that I felt were worthwhile. And that's the main thing. Went way longer than I said I was going to already. Let's just take a look at a couple things. Wow, XRP continues to be better than Bitcoin here today. This is a coin that I am trading actively. If I move down here, yeah, fantastic information here. Okay, so yeah, XRP looks great right now. I did buy a little bit more on this previous candle because it looked like a strong reversal candle. You know, if you come up to a higher time frame on this one, this is the USD chart on the left-hand side and the BTC chart on the right-hand side. We had XRP come down here, tap the EMAs after a bullish EMA reversal here and price reversal. And you can see that price action came down and tapped these previous highs from that consolidation over here and has since tapped it and moved back up. I love that. I want to see stuff like that. Short term, at least, I do want to see this daily candle close above the previous daily. That would be a super strong bullish signal to me. If it closes below, though, as long as we hold these lows, I'm okay with that. But I would be watching it a little bit more closely if it does not manage to close above on this daily. We could take a look probably at dominance, and I imagine we'll see dominance retreating right now, and we'll see some majors then that are going to be moving up. Matic trade is going well, came down. I got another signal. I've got too many of the things on right now. Let's just turn some of that off. I got a nice signal from Nick's Alpha Exhaustion down here at the lows that said, you know, we're probably not going to break below these lows. This was just another test of them. And of course it was, and has since come back up. This is one that I am watching. I came up, we hit my initial 141 target. I was talking with Bagsy about that target a couple days ago in his channel. And then he was mentioning that he was targeting 161 on that one. I would say now, after this moment, if we can break above this area, 161 would be a great short-term target for this coin. Longer term, though, we do have lots of potential. This is one of the IEO coins on Binance, and we have a strong potential reversal candle right now on the daily here. It has found support here at these lows several times now. I would like to see that hold. If we break below it, I would absolutely be stopping out of that position and looking to buy lower on another test of this area down here. But I have a decent entry. Average entry is about 128 at the moment on that one. Now, longer term on this one, I am looking for it to come back up and test this 250 zone here. That would be ideal. This is another one that I've posted in the Discord a few times, AAVE or LEND. It had a fantastic run already, and we have this nice potential SR flip. You can see it on the 4-hour. You can also see it on the daily. Came down, flipped this area so far. It does still have the potential to come down to this, 44, 43 zone, as low as that, or maybe just in the 40s. And bounce around inside this same area again. I don't see that as unlikely, and I would be looking for additional buys in that zone. But thus far, even from my entry, we are still up 50%. Fantastic run so far on this one. Yeah, those are some of the highlights. XRP, I am looking for continued bullish movement on it, both USD and BTC pair. And keep in mind that altcoins are not in bull runs unless both the USD and BTC pairings are moving up. All right, that's all I have to say for today. You saw the levels I'm looking at. I have them pre-marked here on the Bitstamp chart. This is what I was watching yesterday. Really, really want to see bulls push above those levels before I get any sort of bullish excitement. I am a bear until then. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please feel free to share it on social media, online, wherever. And please hit the like button. It helps a lot. It pushes the videos out to more people in the YouTube algorithm. And make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification button. You'll get notified when I'm doing this, or live streams. Last week, we did a US open to close. So entire US session live stream trading. I was live trading a strategy that I'm working on. So that was a lot of fun to do. We had some great people in there chatting. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification so that you get things like that, alerts when we're doing those events. Thank you so much for joining. Get out there, have some fun trading. Don't lose all your fucking money. That's the game, guys. I'll talk to you all again soon.